Good day and good vibe, and welcome to another episode of Chill Art. Chill Art is a public service program of the Leesburg Center for the Arts. The program's goal is to help people shift focus to the positive. Body-mind experts and guest contributors from across the globe volunteer to present their mindfulness modalities and give our viewers tools to better cope during challenging times. Then, after their presentations, we walk you through a short, no artistic ability required art project. Think of them as fun, creative, moving meditations that calm the soul and raise the spirit. In this episode, we welcome Seb Morgan, a British martial arts teacher and singer-songwriter currently in the northwest of England. Seb is also an NYU Fulbright scholar in both acting and the performing arts, and has an extensive career on and off the stage. So when I saw that Seb was once again teaching martial arts, I contacted him and asked if he would record for Chill Art. Chill Art's core intent is to introduce people to a multitude of mindful practices, because mindfulness reduces stress and relieves anxiety, and mental health matters. Mindfulness, being in the now and being aware in the present moment, is integral to the practice of martial arts. So, let's meet Seb Morgan and find out more about movement, intention, and imagination, and the practice of Yiquan.
Hi, I'm Seb Morgan, and I am a martial arts teacher, among other things. I've been into martial arts for 35 years, and I've been a teacher for almost 30. I have a school in the north of England, in Cumbria. The two martial arts that I teach are Shaolin, Northern Shaolin, and Yiquan. And today I am going to show you a bit of an introduction to Yiquan. So Yiquan is formless, it has no form. It was decoded or created, if you like, by a Shifu called Wang Xiangsai, who was looking for ways to better his physical health. He was tiny and always sick and all that. And anyway, he starts decoding this martial art that has to do with analyzing movement and intention. So basically, Yiquan, is the boxing or is the art of intent or of intention, or some people say imagination, because there's a lot of that involved, right? So the martial art is based on different postures called Chang Chuan, which you meditate in, and you create an intention within the posture. So if I'm doing the basic Chang Chuan like this, I'm hugging a tree, and I'm pulling it out of the ground, and then I'm sticking it back in the ground, and then I'm pushing it forward, and then I'm pulling it back, and then I'm splitting it in half, and then I'm putting it back together again. Those are called the 6 forces in each one, right? So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but with no movement. It's all complete stillness is what's going to give us. Then that's Chan Chuan, Shili, which is to start to move, slightly move, Now, let's start. Basically, the warm-up for each one is very simple. It's slow, and it starts like this. You're going to start with feet together, Now, bend your knees, hands on knees, 2 fingers under your rotulas, and you're going to start turning to the left. So 1, your back should be straight, as straight as you can get it. Your shoulders down, relaxed. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, legs apart, the width of your shoulders, hands on your hips, and you're going to turn right, like drawing a circle on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. Now, hands. You're going to, wide stance, and you're going to turn your arms in front of your face towards the right. So 1, 2, your fingers should be stuck together, and your thumbs in like that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, one way and the other one the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah? Let's continue. In fact, I'll show you 2 basic postures that we use in Shaolin, and that are also used a lot in Yiquan. Yeah? One is Kung Fu, which is basically means bow and arrow. Yeah? And the way you build it, or you construct it if you like, is feet together. You're going to open your right foot 45 degrees, then open your left the width of 2 fists. Then that left foot is going to move forward, with that one staying where it was, 45 degrees. Your hip is going to be facing forward, not sideways, and your shin is not going to pass the right angle to the floor, because if not, it's going to hurt your knee, right? So that's Kung Fu, and you can do it on the left-hand side, or on the right. It's a very common posture that you see across a lot of disciplines, martial arts. The other one, second basic posture, called Mapu. Mapu means on horseback. So, legs apart, double the width of your shoulders, right hand in the Tantien. Tantien is 3 fingers under your belly button. Left hand in the center of the body and right under your chin, and then forward. And then you're going to go down. Your hip is going to rotate backwards. Your bum is slightly out. Your feet are still parallel, and you're going to stay there. That's Mapu. As you can see, it's called on horseback, and you can see why. Right. Once you got this movement, we're going to do the same movement like that. Now, the Yiquan hand for practice, and for Chan Chuan and everything, is a very specific one. It's not just a simple, like a claw. The best way to describe it that we have is you're grabbing a tennis ball on the inside, yeah, and a basketball on the outside, yeah? So that's the Yiquan hand. Then it's not tense, it's relaxed enough to keep the shape, the form, but it's not tense, yeah? And everything is like that. It's relaxed and natural. Now, when you do this movement, yeah, you start training with E, yeah, so intent. And basically, that's, in your imagination, you have to play and imagine that this is happening, basically. When you go down, you're sticking your fingers in mud, which is up to your knees. And when you go up, you're sticking your fingers in gelatin, in jello, which is the sky's jello, right? So you have resistance all the way. So there and there. Now, when you're sticking your fingers in mud, your body, which is basically feet parallel and in a bent position, yeah, with your hip rotated forward, your body pushes up. And when you're doing the sky, it's hard and your body comes down. And then it goes up. Right? Now, breathing. You exhale when you're down, you inhale when you're up. Your mouth is shut, air is coming in and out through your nose, and the breathing is as low as you can get it in your abdomen, right? So, that's one of the basic practices. And now, I'll finish by showing you the basic practice of all, which is Chan Chuan. I go back to the basic position. So, feet more or less the width of your shoulders, even though that's personal, it could be slightly more, not less, not recommended, but you'll find your position, yeah? Now, you're standing there, your feet are parallel, bend your knees, yeah? And when you bend your knees, boom, your hip rotates forward. When your hip rotates forward, it flattens this natural curve we have at the bottom of our spine, yeah? So that's the position there. Now, then you go forward 1 degree. Your back is straight, so your weight is in the front part of your feet. And under your heels, yeah, there is an ant. And the ant is held by the head from your heel. If you go too far forward, the ant escapes. If you go back, you crush the ant and you kill it. So you have to keep it there from trying to get away. Yeah? So, recapping, feet are parallel, bend your knees, rotate your hip forward, this goes flat, you're hanging from the sky, and then a degree forward so that you can hold the ant. Now, your arms come up, yeah, into this position. Your hands are, to start with, at the same height as your shoulders in the Yiquan position, yeah, the Chan Chuan position, right? tennis ball and a basketball on the outside. Your elbows are down, so they're not up, they're slightly down. And you are holding a crystal ball there. If you open too much, it falls and it breaks. Yeah? If you hold it too tight, it smashes. So you're just holding it there. So far you're holding a tennis ball, a basketball in each hand, and a crystal ball there. Right? Now, you're also holding a ball here. Same deal. If it's too loose, it'll fall and break. And if it's too tight, it'll smash. So you're holding it, just holding it. Your eyes are open and out into the horizon, slightly above it. Your mouth is shut, and you basically stand there and just concentrate on your breathing. Yeah? That's initially what we would have our students do at the beginning. Yeah? I won't go further because this has endless roads that we can transit, and it needs more time, basically. But in 50 minutes, I think I could give you a wide, swift sweep of what it entails. So I hope you found this interesting, at least interesting enough to try and find someone who can teach this close to where you are and give it a go. And unfortunately, as I said before, I don't give online classes. I think this has to be one-to-one experience. So thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you so much, Seb. That was really wonderful. If you would like to get in touch with Seb, you can look in the description, and there are links to his Facebook page for the school, as well as his website. And I went into a meditation soon after receiving the footage from Seb, and I thought, what I was going to do was about the 5 elements in Chinese medicine, because I have a background in TCM. And then I got his footage, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, my goodness, that there is a shot of a little blonde girl. I happen to be a little blonde girl, only a lot older than her, hugging a tree, and he talks about the 6 forces. And then it came to me. What I wanted to do was a wet-on-wet watercolor and pen and ink imagination tree. So it's going to look something like this. This is the one I did as a sample. But it's going to be free-handed by you. There's no template involved in this for you to print. You're just going to use your intent and your imagination to draw a tree, the shape of a tree, and then we're going to place watercolor in it, and then we're going to do a pen and ink. So it's going to look something like this, but you can choose any colors you want for your imagination tree. So here we go. This is a piece of watercolor paper. You're going to need that, of course, and you're going to need watercolors, brush, water. You might need an eraser, but don't get too picky about this. This is something about flowing into your artwork. Just be focused on what you're doing, be happy with it, put in great intention. It will come out beautiful. After it dries, we're going to go in and we're going to do the detailing, and that's what makes it look very fanciful. Okay, so where's my pencil? I had one here just a second ago. Here we go. I just put a couple of little lines in here, but it's not a full tree yet. I know I like to have the roots exposed. I live around a lot of old growth oak trees. I live in Central Florida at the moment. It's my base of operations. And the windows are open right now. I would have recorded this outside, but the wind might interfere with the microphones in the recording equipment. So I'm inside, the fans are off, and you may hear these summer crickets, or I'm not exactly sure what is making that zzz noise. I hear it. It's some sort of insect. Or you may hear birds, or maybe even dogs barking somewhat. So I just did my roots here, and I'm just going to make some limbs. Now, I'm not putting leaves on this tree. The sample I did, I put it up on my personal Facebook, and someone said it looked like it's following you, that it's walking, that the roots are walking. So, yes, we are humanizing a tree, but that's perfectly fine. We need to be the guardian of our trees and our environment. So, I'm just putting in some limbs. Again, don't be too picky. This is about flowing. I don't have a preconceived idea on this. Trees grow all different directions. So your tree can have ramas, branches, in all sorts of directions. And you're going to be using the permanent marker over this, so be free and know that you'll be adding more lines later. We just want to get our shape done so we can put in our water. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, so this is a wet-on-wet technique, which I think is one of the most fun ways to work with watercolor. No artistic ability required. What you do need to do, there are a couple of rules. What you're going to do is wet the surface of the paper, but only within the lines. You don't want to cross that water over the pencil line, because this is where the magic happens. We are going to be dropping in color, and it will stay in the lines as long as your water is placed down in the lines. There we go. So I'm using a kind of a thin brush. A lot of times with the wet on wet that I demonstrate, we're using a bigger brush, but these areas are thin. So I really want to stay within the lines. And I'm working fairly fast. You can always add more water. But the thing is, with wet on wet, you have to start with wet paper. The watercolor will work very differently on dry paper. Alrighty. There we go. So it's getting all absorbed into the watercolor paper. And we're going to make some magic. So, now choose your colors. I kept with the earth tones in here, browns and oranges and rusts and ochre. I think I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to go with a very unusual looking tree. So I'm going to put some water to soften up my pans, my cake watercolors. That's all I need to do. These are actually gold and silver. I'm not going to use those today. I'm just going to take a little paint on my brush, and I'm going to drop it in. And this is what's called a bloom. It just spreads itself. I don't want to be doing a lot of strokes because I'm going to add a bunch of colors, and I want them all to bloom together. My intention is to let this tree be free. The rattling you're hearing are my vertical blinds, so you know it's breezy out there. Just pay attention to what you're doing with your tree and let the rest of the world drop away. Okay, that's my first step. I'm going to try another color. This is a groovy color. Now you don't need to really throw a lot of water onto the paper at this point. It still has plenty of it on there. And yeah, I am stroking just a little bit just to bring things to the line, the pencil line, because I didn't quite get all the water there. And now I'm going to do some stroking because I want to add some illusion of branches coming off. Mamas. Get very figurative with this. So this is the last step, not the first step, is adding the ends of your branch. Okay, so that's the first part, pretty easy, and we have to wait a little bit. Now when I'm teaching workshops and we have limited time, I actually use a blow dryer. I have people line up and use the blow dryer so that their paper is fully dry before we get into doing the inking. It's just about dry, and I'm going to go in and start at the bottom, and I'm going to outline. I just want you to notice that the way this dried, and I did blot it because I had a lot of water on it, the edges often come out darker. The paint stops there, it builds up a little bit, it sinks more into the paper, so the pigment is darker, which I think really adds to the whole effect. So I'm just gonna go around the perimeter of the roots. You could use a little bit more drying, but I wanted you to get going on this. I wanted to get going on it because it was exciting me. I tend to be impatient, so mindful exercises helps me just keep focused and calm. Art does that for me. Movement does that for me. This art is a moving meditation. So I'm just going to outline this. Somebody is doing something somewhere along the water line as my pipes are singing to me. I live on a lake and there is a speedboat going by as well. Here we go. So we'll start on the bottom. So what I do, and this is how you do the effect, there's so many different colors that have run into one another, and they're dark and they're light. So I'm going to go around, and where they end, where there's a pigment change, I'm going to outline it. And here, see this? That's a dark blue, that's the teal. And just come in and be very free with it. Just let it flow. I'm just adding a little extra whimsy coming off the ends of branches. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. Let your tree talk to you. So I'm going to dedicate this to anyone out there that says they can't draw a straight line, they can't do art. Well, guess what? There isn't a straight line in this entire tree. All of them curve. They go every which way. And I might do a little bit more on this, but I think the video is long enough. I think you get the entire idea. And what's important here, besides the fact that you have taken the time to do a moving meditation, is I want to invite you to send me pictures of your trees.@That's right. I want you to take some snapshots, and I want you to send them to lcfa.buzz@gmail.com. That's lcfa.buzz@gmail.com. And look for episode 25, which is this episode, on the Chill Art page, which is leesburgarts.com/chill art, because there's a gallery for photos under each episode. So all you have to do is look for this episode and you will find your artwork. And it's really fun to share. Share the video. It is all about reducing stress and anxiety. And this episode with martial arts and with art. Art is all about moving meditations and intention and imagination. So I'm going to sign off now, and I hope to see your pictures in my email very soon. Thank you again, Seb. It was wonderful. Ciao for now.